All right. May peace and power elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany coming through live in effect. And as you can see, the title is the part 2 of dealing with the independence of African countries. So the next country that I want to talk about is the history of Moroni Comoros. So Moroni Comoros is located in East Africa, right? And they earned their independence in 1975 of this date of July 6th. So what I want to do is I want to go into the history and I want to show you what the flag looked like. So this is the flag of Comoros. And if you notice, it's kind of like the crescent stars and stuff like that. Well, that's because the country is predominantly Islamic. So we're going to get into all of that. So let's go in and let's talk about the history, shall we? But before we go there, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share this channel on Facebook if you are on Facebook. So if you're on YouTube, subscribe and share the channel, please. I thank you. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. If y'all can see that. All right, so right now, we're going to talk about the history of Moroni Comoros, right? So, Moroni is a coastal town that serves as the capital of Comoros, an archipelago in the Indian Ocean. In 2003, the city had a population of 41,577 people, making it the largest city in the archipelago. It is synonymously one of the least populous capitals on or near the African continent. Moroni is also the capital of Grande Comoro, also known as Ngazija, the largest of 3 islands that make up the republic. The city covers an area of 30 square kilometers, about 12 square miles, and is located at the base of Mount Kathara, one of the largest active volcanoes in the world. Moroni experienced a maritime tropical climate that is defined by warm temperatures and heavy rainfall throughout the year. All right, so let's read on down to here about its history. But we're going to get more information in detail. So the city of Moroni was found in the 10th century as a capital of a sultanate connected commercially to the Swahili city-states along the east coast of Africa in what now constitute the nation of Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique. All of these cities were settled by Arab immigrants who intermarried with the local inhabitants. Monori's language and culture are similar to the Swahili coastal cities. Okay, let's get on down to here. In 1958, Moroni succeeded the city of the Zalduzi, located in the island of Mayonnaise, as the administrative capital of the country. Comoros became an independent nation on July 6, 1975, and Moroni became the capital. The nation lived mostly in peace until violence erupted in April of 1999 due to the refusal by the Comoros Island government to accept a proposal by representatives of the Aegean Islands and the Moroni archipelago, who demanded greater autonomy for their 3 islands. In December 2003, the president signed the Moroni Agreement on Transition Agreements in 2010 as a part of a humanitarian project. The U.S. Navy Seabees constructed the Hamramba School at Moroni. All right. So that's that part. Oh, and let's skip on down to here. Cocoa, coffee, and vanilla are principal export from the port of Moroni. The port's facilities include warehouse storage for imports, export, and for petroleum products. The city produces metals, soft drinks, processed and distilled essential oil, cement, and wood products. All right, so that's it right there. Okay, so let's look at the island. Okay. Okay, so that's the picture of the city of Moroni, Comoros. It's actually an island, so it's really not that big of an island. As I read, the population is not that large, so that's part of the island. Um, yes, Africa has islands. Okay, it has islands. All right, so let's go ahead and read some more information about how the country earned its independence. All right, so there we go. Okay. Oh, the name Moroni means at the river. All right. So the name Moroni means at the river. So let's go into more in detail about how this country earned its independence. Let's look at it. Okay. Okay, let's go on to here. All right. So let's look in more to details. All right. So I want to read a little bit something about its history a little bit more further, and then we're going to go down to the concept about its independence. So as you can see over here, Hold on. I think I was on the right one. All right, here it is. Okay, so here's the settlement. According to mythology, a jinn dropped a jewel which formed a great secular inferno. This became the Katara volcano, which created the island of Grande Comoro. King Solomon is also said to have visited the island. The first attested human inhabitants of the Comoro Islands are now thought to have been the Austronesian settlers traveling by boats from islands in Southeast Asia. These people arrived no later than the 8th century AD, the date of the earliest known archaeological site found on Mayet, although settlement beginning as early as the 1st century has been postulated. Subsequent settlers came from the east coast of Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and the Persian Gulf. The Malay archipelago and Madagascar, Bantu-speaking settlers were present on the islands from the beginnings of settlement, probably brought to the islands as slaves. Development of the Comoros is divided into phases. The earliest reliably record phase is the Gambini Phase, 8th to 10th centuries, during which there were several small settlements on each island. From the 11th to the 15th centuries, trade with the island of Madagascar and merchants from the Swahili coast and the Middle East flourished. More villages were founded and existing villages grew. Many Comoronians can trace their genealogies to ancestors from the Arabian Peninsula, particularly Hadramaut, who arrived during this period. So they have a lot of Arab influence, basically. All right. Medieval Comoros. So we're gonna read a little bit of this. According to legend, in 632, upon hearing of Islam, islanders are said to have dispatched an emissary, Mishwa Minwinza, to Mecca, but by the time he arrived there, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had died. Nonetheless, after a stay in Mecca, he returned to Ngagia and led the gradual conversion of his islanders to Islam. Among the earliest account of East Africa, the work of Masudi described the early Islamic trade routes and how the coasts and islands were frequently visited by Muslims, including Persian and Arab merchants and settlers in search of coral, ambergris, ivory, tortoise shell, gold, and slaves. They also brought Islam to the people of the Jain, including the Comoros, as the importance of the Comoros grew along the East African coast. Both small and large mosques were constructed. The Comoros are part of the Swahili cultural economic complex, and the islands became a major hub of trade and an important location in a network of trading towns that include Kilwa in present-day Tanzania, Sofala, an outlet for Zimbabwean gold in Mozambique, and Mombasa in Kenya. All right, the Portuguese arrived in the Indian Ocean at the end of the 15th century, and the first Portuguese visit to the islands seemed to have been that of Vasco da Gama's second fleet in 1503. For much of the 16th century, the islands provided provision to the Portuguese fort at Mozambique, and although there was no formal attempt by the Portuguese crown to take possession, a number of Portuguese traders settled. By the end of the 16th century, the local rulers were beginning to push back, and with the support of the Omani Sultan Safi bin Sultan, they began to defeat the Dutch and the Portuguese. His successor, San Said bin Sultan, increased Omani Arab influence in the region, moving his administration to nearby Zanzibar, which came under Omani rule. Nevertheless, the Comoros remained independent, and although the three smaller islands were usually politically unified, the largest island, Ngaja, was divided into a number of autonomous kingdoms. By the time Europeans showed interest in the Comoros, the islanders were well placed to take advantage of their needs, initially supplying ships of the route to India, particularly the English, and later slaves to the plantation in the Mascarenes. All right. So basically, it has a lot of Arab influence. Islam was the predominant religious practice to the islanders, and the Portuguese, of course. Remember, the Portuguese were one of the first to start off the whole slave trade from Europe, and then everybody else came along. So so let's read real quick. Oh, that's a lot of information. All right, so I'm gonna read this little last paragraph right here. Well, these last two paragraphs. In 1886, Mawali was placed under French protection by its Sultan Marjan Abdul Sheikh. That same year, despite having no authority to do so, Sultan Said Ali Bambao, one of the sultanates on Ingagia, placed the island under French protection in exchange for French support of his claim to the entire island, which he retained until his abdication in 1910. In 1908, the islands were unified under a single administration, which is Colonie de Moyen et Dependance, and placed under the authority of the French colonial governor general of Madagascar. In 1909, Sultan Said Muhammad of Inzunyi abdicated in favor of French rule. In 1912, the colony and the protectorates were abolished, and the islands became a province of the colony of Madagascar. Agreement was reached with France in 1973 for the Comoros to become independent in 1978. Despite the deputies of Moyen voting for increased integration with France, a referendum was held on all four of the islands. Three voted for independence by large margins, while Moyen voted against. While Moyen voted against and remained under French administration on July 6, 1975. However, the Comorian Parliament passed a unilateral resolution declaring independence. Amin Abdallah proclaimed the independence of the Comorian state and became its first president. All right. So here how the whole independent thing started. Oh boy. Woo. All right, so it's a lot of information here. But the main thing we need to read about is how they earned their independence. So I'm going to read the top, and then I'm going to have to skip to the bottom. Independence, 1975. The next 30 years were a period of political turmoil. On August 3rd, 1975, less than 1 month after independence, President Otman Abdallah was removed from office in an armed coup and replaced with United National Front of the Comoros member Prince Saeed Mohammed Jafar. Months later, in January 1976, Jafar was ousted in favor of his Minister of Defense, Ali Solih. The population of Moye voted against independence from France in the three referenda during this period. The first, held on all the islands on December 22nd, 1974, won 63.8% support for maintaining ties with France on Moye. The second, held in February 1976, confirmed that vote with an overwhelming 99.4%, while the third, in April 1976, confirmed that the people of Moye wished to remain a French territory. So in this case, it was the Portuguese, it was the Arabs, then it was the Portuguese, then it was the French people that took over this island. So one part of Comoros wanted to be a French territory, while the other part said that they wanted to be independent. The three remaining islands, ruled by President Solohi, instituted a number of socialist and isolationist policies that soon strained relations with France. All right, on May 13th, 1978, Bob Denard returned to overthrow President Solih and reinstate Abdallah with the support of the French, Rhodesian, and South African governments. During Soloi's brief rule, he faced 7 additional coup attempts until he was finally forced from office and killed. Wow. All right. So check this out. In contrast to Solih, Abdallah's presidency was marked by authoritarian rule and increased adherence to traditional Islam, and the country was renamed the Federal Islamic Republic of the Comoros. Abdallah continued as president until 1989, when, fearing a probable coup d'etat, he signed a decree ordering the Presidential Guard, led by Bob Denard, to disarm the army forces. Shortly after the signing of the decree, Abdallah was allegedly shot dead in his office by disgruntled military officer, though later sources claim an anti-tank missile was launched into his bedroom and killed him. Although Denard was also injured, it is suspect that the killer was a soldier under his command. Damn. So there was a lot of coup, or a lot of assassination and fighting going on over this one particular land. So almost like each leaders that came into office became the president. If they didn't do right by the people or didn't follow the rules, and then their own army turned against them. So we're going to skip down. We're going to skip down to here. It says, since independence from France, the Comoros experienced more than 20 coups or attempted coups. Wow. Following election in late 2010, former Vice President Ikulu Dononi was inaugurated as president on May 26, 2011, a member of the ruling party. Dononi was supported in the election by the incumbent president Ahmed Abdullah Mohamed Sambi. Dononi a pharmacist by training, is the first president of the Comoros from the island of Mawali. Following the 2016 election, Azali Assoumani from Ngaja became president for a third term. In 2018, Azali held a referendum on constitutional reform that would permit a president to serve 2 terms. The amendments passed, although the vote was widely contested and boycotted by the opposition. And in April 2019, and to widespread opposition, Azali was elected president to serve the first of potentially 2 5-year terms. All right, so as you can see, that was the history of its independence, and there was a lot of coup going on, etc. So let's talk about the people or the ethnic groups. So all right, so let's go into the culture of Comoros. Let's see the culture. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is the marriage. All right, so here it is. There are 2 types of marriage in Comoros: the little marriage known as Imnada Daho on Ngaja, and the customary marriage known as Ada on Ngaja Harusi and the other islands. The little marriage is a simple legal marriage. It is small, intimate, and is inexpensive, and the bride's dowry is normal. I mean, is not. Excuse me. Nominal. Excuse me. A man may undertake a number of Minadaho marriages in his lifetime, often at the same time, a woman fewer, but both men and women will usually only undertake one adada or grand marriage, and this must generally be within the village. The hallmarks of the grand marriage are dazzling gold jewelry, 2 weeks of celebration, and enormous bridal dowry. Although the expenses are shared between both families, as well as with a wider social circle, and either wedding on Ngaja can cost up to £50,000, which is $74,000 in US dollars. Many couples take a lifetime to save for their Ada, and it is not uncommon for a marriage to be attended by a couple's adult children. Oh, excuse me. It is not uncommon for a marriage to be attended by a couple's adult children. All right. Let's see. Kinship and social structure. All right. Comorian society has a bilateral descent system. Okay, the bilateral descent is a system of family lineage in which the relatives on the mother side and the father side are equally important for emotional ties or for transfer of property or wealth. All right. Lineage, membership, and inheritance of immovable goods, land, housing is matrilineal, passed in the maternal line, similar to many Bantu peoples who are also matrilineal. I didn't know that. I didn't know the Bantu people were matrilineal. I thought they were patrilineal. That's interesting. While other goods and patronymic are passed in the male line. However, there are differences between the islands, the matrilineal element being stronger on Ngaja. And that's interesting. Okay, so All right, so we're going to also look at the tribes and the people. All right, so under here where it says ethnic group, right? Okay. So ethnic group, the islands of Comoros share mostly African Arab origins. Minorities including the Malagasy, Christian, and Indian, mostly Ismaili. There are recent immigrants of Chinese origin in Grande Comoro, especially Moroni. Although most French left after independence in 1975, a small Creole community descending from settlers from France, Madagascar, and Reunion lives in the Comoros. Let's see the language. All right, so let's look at the language. And then we're going to look up the people. All right, so the languages, the most common language in the Comoros are the Comorian languages, collectively known as Shikomori. They are related to Swahili and the four different variants, Shingaza, Shimwali, Shim, Shindu, what is it? Shinzuna or Shinzuni? Yes, Shinzuni and Shamare are spoken on each of the four islands. Arabic and Latin script are both used. Arabic being the more widely used, and an official orthography has recently been developed for the Latin script. Arabic and French also official languages with along with Comorian. Arabic is widely known as a second language, being the language of Quranic teaching. French is the administrative language and the language of most non-Quranic formal education. That's interesting. All right, so let's look up the people. All right, the people. Okay, let's look up the people. All right, so we're gonna go on the people for a moment. All right, we're gonna take a look at and see what these people look like. Hmm. All right, so that's the woman. She's one of the uh Cameroonian people. Very beautiful. All right. And here's the brother right here. And they're Muslims, as you can tell. Okay. Let's see if I can find another one. See, here's some more people right here. All right. Let's go back. You see, there's some more sisters right there. All right, so let's find out the tribes. Let's go look up the tribes. All right. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can find out what the tribal group is. Okay, okay, apparently they don't have any tribal groups. I don't see any. Hmm, that's interesting. I don't see any tribal groups. Boy, maybe I should look under indigenous tribe. See, indigenous. Hmm, okay, nope. Mm-mm. Okay, so let's look under here. So basically, mm, so let me see. All right, okay. Oh boy. Mm, mm. Let me get this shit off here. All right. Okay, so under what it says largest ethnic groups in the Comoros, basically, you got the African Arabs. And who are the African Arabs? Of course, they are African descended people. Let's read up on them real quick. African Arabs, commonly known as Afro Arabs, are a group of people or individual who trace their ancestry to both African and Arabic origins. Most of the African Arabs are along the Swahili coastline in Africa Great Lake regions. Some of these ethnic groups are also in other parts of the world, especially in the Arab world. So African Arab is the dominant ethnic group in Comoros, accounting for 86% of the total population. The island was initially colonized by Africans. However, it in the 15th century, the Arab arrived on the islands and thus established their chiefdom. Okay, so all right, so basically, the largest ethnic group is the Arabs, and the second largest is the Malagasy. Okay, so yep, and Ismaili Indians. That's interesting. So all right then. Well, let's get down to spirituality and religion. Let's go find out about the spirituality. Like, what do they believe in? What religious practice? Okay, so I'm gonna do it like this. Uh, hmm. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty then. Let's see if I can. World, why is it not letting me? Hold on. Let me see something. Let me try this again. Why is it not letting me? Hmm. Okay. So, cause what is going on? Application. Um, all right. Okay. So back to what I was saying. Spirituality and religion. All right. So here it is. Um, Sunni Islam. 98% of the total population in Comoros adhere to Sunni Islam. All right, Islam in the Comoros was introduced by the Arab merchants, Zarahi princes, is exiled from Persia. Um, the French did not attempt to change the religion during colonization and remains deeply ingrained in Comorians' way of living. Okay. The Constitution of Comoros recognizes Islam as the official religion. All public policy must adhere to Islamic values. Children in Comoros attend Quranic schools for 2 or 3 years, where they are taught the basis of the Arabic language and Islam. Uh, Comorians adhere to Sunni Islam religious practice, including observing all the holidays. All right, and then the second largest religious practice is Roman Roman Catholic. Roman Catholics make up the largest minority religious group in Comoros. Adherents of the religion from a small part of the population at less than 1% of the total population. There are only two Roman Catholic churches in Comoros. There is no diocese Roman Catholic in the country, although the Constitution of Comoros allowed for freedom of worship. Open practice of other religion is prohibited, which has largely stood in the way of building more Roman Catholic churches. All right, then you got Hinduism, which is another practice, but it's mostly commonly practiced amongst those that are Indian. Then you got Shia Islam, which is different from Sunni Islam. Then you got Protestant Christians, and that's it. So the most dominant religion in that country is Sunni Islam. All right. Okay, so let's look at social status, economics, and social stratification. Let's see, social status. Hmm. Let's look at social status. Okay. Okay, there we go. Social stratification. All right. Social stratification, classes and castes. Society is made up of three classes. Princely descendants of the ancient sultans trace their lineage back to the Arab immigrants who married into local leaders' matrilineal families. The title of Sharif, a descendant of Muhammad, is handed down through the male line. Farming families are organized in a local hierarchy that reflects their role in the foundation of development of the village. In the cities, fishermen form a separate and socially inferior class, although they can be wealthier than other city residents. Descendants of the African slaves who arrived in the 14th to the 19th century live in distinct neighborhoods or villages. The lifestyle of the urban Arab aristocracy in Zoni differs greatly from that of the farming population. Okay, so let's look at the symbol of social stratification. The great wedding ceremony identifies accomplishment and excuse me, let me start that again. The great wedding ceremony identifies accomplished men who wear a ceremonial coat and a special scarf on Fridays. In some villages, enter the mosque through a special door. In Zaja, only women who participate in great weddings can wear the bibi, bibi, a black garment. Village women often wear great wedding jewels to work. In the cities, the size of the house a family builds for its daughter reflects its wealth. Okay. So with that being said, that's that information. Let's go ahead and let's look into how they celebrate their Independence Day. Your love, I need to get back. You're all I need to get by. You're all I need to get by. You're all I need. Okay, let me start that again. Okay. You're all I need to get by. Hmm. Okay, so Here it is. Here's one of the ways they celebrate their Independence Day. All right, so let me go ahead and put myself on mute. Mm-hmm. You're all I need to get by. All right. So that concludes this topic. That concludes this video. Thank you guys for watching. May peace and power elevation be to you all. If you are on the YouTube channel or you haven't checked out the YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is Tiffany L. French. You can share this page and hit the notification bell whenever I come on. Um, Also, on top of that, if you are on Facebook, make sure you share this channel as well. So yeah, well, share the page rather. Other than that, I appreciate you guys for watching. And tomorrow, because I do the video 2 times a day. If half y'all knows that. So tomorrow we're gonna talk about Angela Stanton. All right. We're gonna get into the American politics. Angela Stanton, a very powerful sister, and how she pretty much schooled the Breakfast Club. Yeah, so we're gonna watch that video, and I'm gonna give my thoughts because there's a lot of things that I agree to. So I'm gonna keep you guys posted on that. So with that being said, take it easy, you guys. Peace, and until next time, we will talk. All right. And remember, knowledge is essential. Knowledge is power. Ashe. All right.